And he talked about also fiscal conservatism that needs to be brought to the office of Attorney General, because the AG's office, and we've said this before on the show before, Tonya Schuitmaker, who we're speaking with, that the Attorney General's office, Tonya, in the state of Michigan is the largest law firm in the state of Michigan.
It is.
So many people that I talk to, Tonya, don't even know that.
It's an overlooked office and a very important office, and that's why I feel so strongly that we need to have the best candidate in there that will represent the people of the state of Michigan.
Well, here's the other thing to it that a lot of people don't understand either. I've looked it up. I talked to Scott Gringley at that fake faux pas unity event in Grand Rapids. He confirmed that he said it was closer to 72% of the caseloads that the Attorney General office deals with are civil cases, not criminal cases.
That's correct.
Now, why, based on your background, your resume, are you a better candidate for that based on that workload? Why are you the better candidate versus your opponent?
Well, I have had over a decade in the private sector, signing both sides of the paycheck in a general practice. And when you're in a general practice, you deal with every kind of case under the sun, very close to what the Attorney General's office does. And as you point out, my opponent has only had experience in criminal 2 years and 9 months before he was laid off in the Genesee prosecutor's office. To me, if we're going to put somebody up against the Democrats, we need the strongest candidate to go up there. And 2 years and 9 months does not cut it. I've had over a decade in the private sector. I've been an attorney for over 24 years. I have a proven record in protecting what's important to people's lives. I've represented people in the private sector, and I've done a great job in both the House and the Senate serving the residents of my districts.
Well, one of the things I think that's coming into play here, and the other side keeps wanting to throw up the voting record, and they want to talk about conservative votes, and they want to talk about this. First of all, describe for the listeners your most recent, your Senate district in particular, because it's got more counties involved. What is your district basically demographically? What is it, Republican versus Democrat? How is it versus, conservative versus moderate? What kind of district do you represent as a state senator?
Well, I have won in areas that have voted for Barack Obama not once but twice. I've represented a very diverse area. I've represented two different Senate seats, essentially, because during redistricting, I lost 93% of my first Senate seat that I represented, which was the 20th Senate seat. That was Kalamazoo County, which is a very competitive seat. My new district actually takes into account portion of Kent County, Allegan County, and Van Buren County, a very diverse district. It's got a lot of farms in it. It also has a lot of industry up more towards Grand Rapids area. And, of course, we border Lake Michigan.
Well, I deal with a lot of farmers here in Antrim County. As being the county chair, I deal with a lot of farmers. I've got fruit producers, I got beef farmers, I got dairy farmers. A lot of these guys are saying, it's going to be tough for me to vote for John James because Debbie Stabenow has done such a great job for us farmers, being the head of the Ag Committee in Washington. And I bring that up because this shows you how conservative. I mean, we voted for Donald Trump up here, 72% to Hillary Clinton's 28%. But yet these farmers are saying, like farmers you've got in your district, they kind of like Debbie Stabenow and what she's done for them. So the point is, you can't always be voting strictly conservative when you're comparing it to other state representatives, state senators across the state. You got to vote based on your constituency.
That's correct. And I will point out, in terms of the American Conservative Union, up until this Attorney General race started, actually, they had me ranked more conservative. This year, it's tied between my opponent and I, but up until this last round, they had me ranked with a higher lifetime record of being an American conservative.
So let's put that to rest. I mean, I'll debate these people on it all day long, but what I'm looking at here is I am sick and tired of the Attorney General's office being held by somebody who, I'm sorry, has a political agenda. Every single time any cases were prosecuted, especially criminal, it had to do with some kind of political axe to grind. Will you on this show right now pledge that you will not, as the next Attorney General, be using that office to get even with your political opponents?
Absolutely not. I will be an Attorney General that will serve with integrity. And, I always believe that, people are, you can describe labels to people, but at the end of the day, people just want basic fairness. And that's the kind of Attorney General I will be, is one that serves without fear or favor to anyone. I will serve with fairness, and I will not pander to people. I will do what's right, and I will be a rule of law Attorney General.
Absolutely. One of the last things, I got a couple comments this week. We were bantering back and forth on social media. I was felt like I was taking on the world. But
thanks, Randy.
Yeah, because, here's the point. I know Tom Leonard. He came to my golf outing July of 2017. And I told him then, right then and there, Tom, if you want a promotion, you're going to have to give us cheaper car insurance, and you're going to have to lower the state income tax, if not eliminate it. I told him that over a year ago. I put him on constructive notice, and you know that legal term when I say it. Bottom line is, he failed on both of those. And I'm going, okay, now if you're going to fail as the Speaker of the House in leadership, and you can't help the people of Michigan lower the cost of living by cutting our car insurance in half or 40%, and you can't lower our state income tax, giving us basically a pay raise in our paychecks on Friday, because we're all hourly workers or salary. We're all people working here. What part of that don't you understand? But yet now you expect us to promote you at the state convention? I'm sorry, Tonya. I'm just having a problem with that.
He has a failed record of leadership. He failed on the income tax cut. He didn't put it into the budget. He could have. He has not passed American laws for Americans' court. Failure. He has not lowered auto insurance rates. There's a reasonable compromise. The Senate has passed out 2 packages dealing with eliminating the fraud, waste, and abuse in auto insurance, and he has not taken up either of those packages. I know there's also other packages in the House. He's not put those up for a vote. Mainly, he's kowtowing to the Detroit mayor, who's a Democrat, to give Detroit residents lower car insurance at the expense of everyone else in the state. To me, there's a reasonable compromise to be brought up so that everyone can have auto insurance rate relief.
Well, and not only that, my biggest problem, I know police officers. I know state troopers from northern Michigan that have to go down and take shifts in Detroit. They live up here in Petoskey, surrounding areas. They go down every once in a while and have to pull a shift in Detroit and live in a hotel. They told me that when they pull cars over in Detroit, Tonya, they don't even ask for registration and proof of insurance. They automatically know that those people are driving dirty in Detroit, and there's nothing they can do about it. As the Attorney General, shouldn't we be able to enforce our laws, but like you say, at least reform auto insurance so they can buy some type of car insurance and get a plate?
Absolutely, and that's one of the things that I intend to do. We all have agendas, and so one of the first things I want to do as Attorney General is create an auto insurance task force to root out fraud and waste. And that's something that really needs to be done. The Attorney General's office, I don't know if it was started under General Schuette or General Cox, but they instituted a Medicaid fraud unit in there, and they rooted out fraud and saved the taxpayer thousands of dollars in terms of that. And so that's something we can and we need to do when it comes to auto insurance rates.
Well, it's got to happen, because I'm telling you what, the people of the state of Michigan, we are right on the break point as far as the cost of living here in the state of Michigan. Between number one highest car insurance in the country, 4.25% state income tax, you throw in wheels and alignments because the roads are so bad, you throw in all these other increased tax, gasoline, $3.09 a gallon. I mean, you know what, Tonya, I'm telling you what, I'm talking to the folks. I'm talking to the regular people. They're having a hard time making it here in the state of Michigan, and there's got to be some changes.
Well, and don't forget the high cost of auto insurance registration, which my opponent, claims to be conservative, but he voted for a 40% increase in that registration car insurance every year.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice birthday tax.
Yeah, well, and don't remind me, because I got Miss Vicky's birthday September 8th. I just got the renewal for our SUV and our motorcycle, and guess what? They went up again this year.
Yeah, well, I can thank Tom Leonard for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're talking with Tonya Schuitmaker. She's going to be at the state convention on Saturday, August 25th. Precinct delegates, all you guys that got elected, you're going to go to your county conventions this coming Thursday, the 16th at 7 o'clock. You guys need to make sure that you get elected to go to the state convention, or at least you need to advocate for the delegates that do get to go. They need to know this information. They need to compare the two candidates and be prepared to vote for Tonya Schuitmaker at the state convention, because this is the truth, folks. Whether you like it or not, it's the truth. So we're going to hold her over. I got a couple of text messages, Facebook comments. We're talking with Tonya Schuitmaker. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Tonya Schuitmaker, and I'm running for Attorney General to defend our conservative values and constitutional rights. I worked 10 years in the private sector, signing both sides of the paycheck before serving as a pro-Second Amendment, pro-life conservative in the state legislature. Like President Trump, I, Tonya Schuitmaker, am endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. I will fight to defend our conservative principles and keep our families safe.
Paid for by Tonya Schuitmaker for Michigan.
Hey everybody, it's Trucker Randy. We got a Well Connect unit installed in our house on December 1st, 2017. In the first 3 months, we heated our home using our well water and saved almost 400 gallons of propane during one of the coldest winters ever. A 20-amp circuit breaker powers the Well Connect unit with less electricity than running a handheld blow dryer, about $55 a month. And during these last few mild days, our propane furnace hasn't even ran. So call Well Connect today at 989-356-2113 or check out their website at wellconnectsaves.com. Even after the bank financing 100% of the cost and installation of the unit, we're saving a ton of money, and we won't need any more propane until next year. Also, ask about the rebates and federal tax credit too. Again, call them today at 989-356-2113. We love our Well Connect unit. We wish we had gotten it sooner.
Hi, I am Mary Treater Lang, and I'm proud to be running to be your next Secretary of State. I'm a CPA with over 35 years in the private sector. When I see a problem, I roll up my sleeves and solve it. I will utilize private sector solutions and fiscal responsibility to benefit the taxpayers. I built a career on doing more with less. Former Secretary of State Candace Miller said, I am an accomplished leader that voters can be proud to support. And Terry Lynn Land said, I'm the right candidate to lead. Vote for Mary Treater Lang.
Paid for by Mary Treater Lang for Secretary of State.
And we're back. Final segment of the third hour here of Your Defending Fathers on the Patriot Voice Radio Network, the Michigan Talk Network. We appreciate you guys being part of the show today. Tonya, the couple messages came in previously and as well as this morning. They wanted me to ask you this question. As the next Attorney General, there's going to be a couple of groups that are putting together a complaint, if you will. They're going to be filing it with the Attorney General's office. And they're going to be asking the next Attorney General to look at two things that they believe are unconstitutional happening here in the state of Michigan. One of them is the fuel tax that you just mentioned that Tom Leonard voted for to increase the fuel taxes and the license plates registration fees. In the fuel tax bill itself, there is an automatic inflationary rider attached to it. where this fixed 7.3 cents per gallon on the fuel taxes automatically go up tied to the CPI, Consumer Pricing Index, the inflationary rider, is unconstitutional. You cannot inflationarily increase taxes without a vote of the representatives, the senators, signed by the governor. Every single year they'd have to re-sign that, repass it, and re-sign it, but yet they made an inflationary rider to it. And the other thing is our state constitution, Tonya, says our state income tax is supposed to be at 3.9%. They've been overcharging us ever since Granholm and Mike Bishop and the boys had to do that. You know, you were there, the House, whatever. They've been overcharging the people of the state of Michigan based on our Constitution. Do these groups that are telling me this stuff, in your opinion, without researching all the laws and everything, but do you think they have a legitimate complaint? Is it something that should be looked into?
You know, definitely I'm open to looking into anything. Without having done some research, it sounds like there's a lot of research that needs to be done on such an issue.
Oh, yeah, big time.
I'm not going to probably weigh in on the legality or the illegality. And like anything, you know, these groups are free to weigh in and to either ask the Attorney General for an opinion or to bring a complaint against the state of Michigan to do that. And
right.
I'll take a look at all the various case law, the Constitution, and the intent of the legislature when I'm Attorney General.
Perfect. Because that's all we're asking for is a fair shot, you know, of saying, let us present our case. Will you at least hear it? You know, because right now, Bill Schuette hasn't wanted to deal with these groups. I know the people leading it, Norm Hughes and a few others, and he's told them flat out, don't bring it to my office because I've got other things on my plate right now and I don't want to deal with it. And it was like, are you kidding me? You're the Attorney General. You know, we feel like we're getting ripped off here in the state of Michigan for over 11 years now on the state income tax. And it's like somebody's got to be held accountable. So at least you'd be willing to look at it. And if you are the next Attorney General, you can't render an opinion on this show today because it's a case you might have to rule on or
That's
give an
correct.
opinion. Right.
That's correct.
So, okay. Last question, real quick. They want to know what you're going to do at the convention. What are you going to do as far as your presentation, your video? Are you going to, because you on your mailers to the precinct delegates, you've been calling out the truth on your opponent. Are you going to do that at the state convention or are you going to ratchet it down a little bit?
You know, I actually don't think that the candidates actually get an opportunity to speak. I think it's just a nominating speech
and a video.
And so, you know, I've been out talking to delegates. You know, some people say it's a negative. If I feel if it's the truth, it's not negative, it's the truth. And you know, going back to the founding fathers of our country and our democracy, it was set up so that you could argue issues. It's nothing personal. But it is about issues and who has a proven record, who's the best candidate to go on and take on Dana Nessel, and to argue who's not afraid to go on different shows and to argue their point of why they are the best candidate. And I think at the end of the day, that's me. I've been taking my message all around this great state for the past almost year. And been forming relationships with delegates. And I think at the end of the day, that's what wins is forming relationships and to distinguish my record versus my opponent's record.
Well, I think you just wrote the script for your video.
Well, thank you.
Because I got to tell you, the video's got to tell the truth. I mean, this is the kind of campaign you've been running from day one, and I hope that the video conveys the same type of messaging because the truth is the truth is the truth. And I think before the precinct delegates vote, I think they need to know the truth, and I hope that video gives you an opportunity to continue what you've been doing.
Well, thank you so much. I feel that there's a lot to protect in this great state, I think, and the Attorney General has enormous power, and so it's so important to put up our strongest candidate to go up against the Democrats.
Yeah. Well, we're all familiar with what Dana Nessel said, elect me because I don't have a penis. I'm sorry. This is something that is just ridiculous. And you obviously would be able to checkmate her on that point.
I would. I'm not about identity politics. I am about putting up the candidate that has the best record, and that is me. No question about it. I've been an attorney for over 24 years. I've signed both sides of the paycheck, both public and private sector experience. I've won in very competitive areas, and so there's no question that's me, and I just also happen to be a woman as well, so she won't be able to use identity politics on me.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we appreciate you staying over for the second segment. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much, Randy. Take care.
This is Cassie. Thank you for listening to Your Defending Fathers.
Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back on Monday.
Hi, this is Tonya Schuitmaker, and I'm running for Attorney General to defend our conservative values and constitutional rights. I worked 10 years in the private sector, signing both sides of the paycheck before serving as a pro-Second Amendment, pro-life conservative in the state legislature. Like President Trump, I, Tonya Schuitmaker, am endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police. I will fight to defend our conservative principles and keep our families safe.
Paid for by Tonya Schuitmaker for Michigan.